From my experience, I have seen that there are two types of people in the world. There's people who like Weird Al, and then there's girls. That's what I've noticed. Weird, the Al Yankovic story. So Weird, the Al Yankovic story is, if you can tell from its title, a telling of the story of Weird Al Yankovic. We all know who Weird Al is, master of musical parody. I know a few of his tunes, from The Night Santa Went Crazy to Hardware Store to Albuquerque. This movie is a telling of the story of his life. It's not. Yeah, you gotta know this right off the bat. This movie is completely fictionalized. You probably know that already if you watched the trailer for this, which I did not before watching the movie. So watching it, I was like, oh, okay, I know what kind of movie this is gonna be. This movie, to put it simply, is a parody of the rock and roll musician biopic, which of course works because it's Weird Al. That's his thing. He even helped write the script for this movie. Now, in this movie, Alfred Yankovic is played by Daniel Radcliffe, who I will say actually does a really good job. Like, surprisingly so. Like, when I heard Daniel Radcliffe was gonna play Weird Al, I was like, that's a weird choice. Then again, I didn't really think about it too much because after thinking about it, I was like, no, that's actually a pretty good choice. Daniel Radcliffe is good at playing awkward people, so that fit for Weird Al. And when he's singing, I don't know if that's actually Daniel Radcliffe singing like Weird Al, but he sounded a lot like Weird Al singing. I heard that soft lisp in his voice that Weird Al has. I was like, yeah, wow, good job, man. And he's discovered by Dr. Demento, who I was like, I know that name. They're coming to take me away, haha. And in this movie, he's played by Rainn Wilson. Yes, that's Dwight from The Office. He kind of takes on the mentor role, kind of, sorta. I mean, he's really not in the movie that much, comparatively speaking. Bigger supporting role in this movie is Evan Rachel Wood as Madonna. Which is funny, my friend told me that Evan Rachel Wood is Madonna in this movie before I watched it. But even so, watching it, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. And the two of them end up forming a romantic relationship, and I was like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that ever happened. I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't know everything about Weird Al's life. I'm sure a quick Google search would answer that question for me, but I just haven't done that yet. Other funny thing, though, is I was like, alright, this movie's gonna tell us how Weird Al came up with Like a Surgeon, which I was like, I already know how he came up with that song. How I Met Your Mother told me that story. Ted Mosby gave him that idea. Yeah, we all remember.
I wrote him a fan letter, and then a few months later, BAM! Top of the charts!
But seriously, folks, Evan Rachel Wood was pretty good as the staged version of Madonna, since that's pretty much who she played throughout the entire movie. Now, when this movie was first starting out, like within the first few scenes, I was like, alright, yeah, this movie is obviously a parody, because the acting's not really that good. You have Kid Al and his parents, his dad is played by Toby Huss. No surprise there, he's played the disappointed father before. But the dialogue's going, I was like, yeah, this is sounding pretty cliche. But then I was like, oh, well, that's what the movie's going for. It's going for parody because, hello, it's Weird Al. And I was like, that's brilliant. It's genius because that's so Weird Al. His whole gimmick is parodies, so let's make his biopic a parody of biopics. That's a great concept, and I was watching the first, half an hour of this movie, just loving it. Yeah, I was really into it. The jokes were landing, it was funny, I was laughing out loud. There's a lot of celebrity guest cameos in this movie, too. A lot of which I recognized, some I didn't. Like, there's a scene where someone comes in and that person has more screen time than they probably should, and I was like, alright, that's probably a cameo by someone, but I don't know who that is. Doesn't change the fact that there were other times I was like, oh my god, that's Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's Keegan-Michael Key. Holy crap, that's Jack Black. That's a pretty fun part of the movie. Always kept me entertained going, oh, it's that face, oh, it's that actor. But then, the movie makes a decision to get more ridiculous. And at that point, I was like, okay, is this movie gonna get stupid? And I'm here to tell you, yeah, it does. I was rolling with it throughout the second act. I was like, alright, I get it. It's still fun, cheesy parody. I mean, it's not as bad as, Scary Movie or something. Scary Movie, none of the jokes are funny. It's complete stupidity throughout. This movie actually has a lot of good humor. At least in my opinion. Even throughout the second act, I was like, alright, I get it. I'm not enjoying it as much as the first act, but alright, I can still roll with it. Then finally, at a point around where Act 3 starts, I was like, yeah, alright, this is pretty dumb. The movie gets over the top and insane, almost cartoonish. Thing is, though, is that this movie knows what it is. It knows that it's stupid, it knows that it's parody, so I can only ding it so much for that, you know? Like, if I went to Weird Al and told him, yeah, your movie's stupid because it has stupid jokes, he would be like, yeah, I know it has stupid jokes. I wrote it that way, you dumb shit. That's the kind of movie I was going for. So I know the movie's trying to be stupid, but at a point, I was like, this is too stupid. Believe me, there is such a thing. I honestly can't remember the last time I went from loving a movie in the beginning to not loving it later on so fast. I mean, I'm not gonna say I hate this movie. I'm not gonna say it's bad because, again, it knows what it is. What I am saying is that the movie lost me around Act 3. I went from going, this is awesome, I love this, to, alright, this is dumb. And it's not because of the fact that this is completely fictionalized. Yeah, I get it, it's a parody. It's really the fact that it stopped being funny, actually. Because it started doing stupid shit, and I was like, alright, I never found stupidity funny, and I'm not gonna start now. And of course, I know humor is subjective. If you're into stupid humor, here you go. This is your utopia. You have hit pay dirt. It just wasn't that for me. I will give praise to the music, though. I mean, it's Weird Al music. He's got his accordion, he's doing polka, he's doing parodies of hit songs. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna get this soundtrack, I'm just gonna listen to the Weird Al tracks I already own. But it is still good music. So in the end, Weird the Al Yankovic story is okay, it levels out for me. I loved the beginning of this movie, and then it lost me as it got to the end. It's fun parody, the humor lands for the most part. When it stays in the pocket of actual parody of a biopic, that's when the movie's at its best. But then when it gets over the top and cartoonish, I was like, yeah, alright. This movie is certainly living up to its title. I feel like this movie would be really good to watch with a group of friends and you have the drinks going. That sounds like a pretty fun night. And so that, my friends, is what I have to say about that. So Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Have you watched it yet? What are your thoughts on it? And if you like Weird Al, what's your favorite Weird Al Yankovic song? Mine? Hardware Store. Love that shit. It's not a parody, it's an original tune, but it's so damn catchy. But whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace!